Hello, welcome back for part 3, the final reckoning of our that's part 8. Never mind, of our amazing mega giga Fallout stream. So, brief round the table with in case anyone's watching this on catch up. Hello, I'm Steve. I do videos and stuff here at Modifius. I'm joined by Samantha.
I'm the brand manager for Fallout lines.
I'm joined by Jamie.
I'm the project manager for the Fallout miniature lines.
I'm joined by Joe.
Lead 3D Resin, who works on a lot of the 3D models for Fallout, along with my amazing team.
And joined by Evie too.
I am the game designer leading on our Fallout miniatures games.
Cool. People are like, Joe is back. I smell new sculpts. It's well, maybe that's part of it. So yeah, it has been a pleasure and a delight watching the Discord over the past week or so, as people go, what could it be? What could the announcement be? Suppose we should tell people, really, shouldn't we?
Roll it, Steve.
Roll it. Here we go.
Punch it, Chewie.
Well, there we go. It's out back now.
Today,
we can't take it back.
Yeah, we can't. Today
out the
we are
bag.
announcing that we are in development for the second edition of Fallout Wasteland Warfare. It's been a long road getting to this point. We've been listening and we've been monitoring your feedback on the game for quite some time, and all of that has gone into the direction that the game is taking, the development of this second edition. So we're planning on launching the second edition of Wasteland Warfare in mid-2026 after the upcoming Far Harbor wave, which means that Far Harbor will be the last wave of miniatures to receive first edition rules support. Fallout Wasteland Warfare's second edition is going to be a solo-first adventure wargame, inspired from the Into the Wasteland, Homestead, and the Into the Vault gameplay modes of the first edition. You'll be able to explore procedurally generated wastelands with a hero character, recruit a warband, and fight for survival against random creatures, mutants, and other human enemies. You can also play cooperatively, where multiple players can play across a campaign map together. I'm also pleased to announce that you'll be able to create your own hero characters with a simple character creation system, something I know that was incredibly popular request of the first edition. The second edition is also going to support a battle mode where two players' warbands can fight each other. You'll be able to use your campaign warband, or you can build a custom warband and choose a scenario to play against each other. I'll pass it over to Evie now for a few scant details.
Exactly.
Very exciting stuff. So my job is to give you a few little tidbits about what the rules are going to look like. What I should say is that what we wanted to do was keep the most sort of iconic central parts of the first edition, streamline everything, make sure everything was serving that really core purpose of that solo first adventure wargame experience. So there were a few things that we've had in Wasteland Warfare for a very long time, but are going to be we're going to be moving away from. So the first thing that everyone should know is that there will not be any cards in the new edition. The game will no longer be working primarily off cards. Instead, it will be working off rules in the rulebook and in the supplement. There also, we will not be using the measuring sticks that have been present in the first edition. Instead, going to inch measurements using a tape measure or ruler of your choice. And we are really working hard to get the token count in the game down, not by stripping out any of the kind of evocative elements, but by creating clever, elegant ways to get that evocative play in with fewer tokens on the table, just so it's much easier to track on. We are keeping the dice for the most part. I think those colored dice, those colored dice sets are very iconic to the game, and I wouldn't want to get rid of them. But we are going to be streamlining them down slightly. So 2 of the dice, the special effect dice and the armor dice, won't be coming with us to the second edition. And the special die, the white die, is having some changes made to balance out the probability curve a little bit, to make play more satisfying, to make sure people have a better time every time they get to the table. There's also going to be a brand new AI system that is not going to be basically based on the current AI system at all, but is a brand new one, handcrafted by me and the team to make sure that you get satisfying, interesting play from enemies that can be as varied as we want to make it. And also, hopefully, it's a little bit easier to track when you've got multiple enemies on the field. Those are the kind of the rules cliff notes. There is obviously a lot of stuff coming, but we will be reading that over the next year. So
Yeah, exactly. There's only so much we're going to tell you today, but we wanted to lift the lid and let you know what's going on behind the scenes, because, like Samantha said, this is kind of the Wave 12 announcement, because we Wave 11 is coming out and people are like, what's the preview? What's the preview for Wave 12? Well, this is what we're doing next. This is kind of like, the tease, the reveal. So expect more minis news in the future. But yes, so what else can we tell people about Wasteland Warfare Second Edition?
Yeah, okay. I can jump in here. So we're going to be launching the game with a bunch of brand new box sets. Second Edition will still use our range of scale models that we've done before. We're working really hard to support the vast majority of factions in the game in the first wave, with the following warbands supported for campaign play and battle mode.
So here you go. There's a slide now. These are all the supported warbands that you'll have some kind of use for at the start when we go out there. These should all be covered. Yes, Bladderus, NCR. Yes, we deleted Gunners just to annoy you as well. Sorry. But yeah. So yeah, just to run through those: Survivors, Raiders, Creatures of the Wasteland as antagonists only. Brother of Steel,
you're not going to be able to play as them.
Yep. NCR, Caesar's Legion, Enclave, Minutemen, Railroad, Institute, Children of Atom, and Cult of the Mothmen. But yeah, do we want to talk about like kind of how this is, we're supporting all these. You say that we're going to support as many of them. Obviously it's not going to be everything, but do we want to talk about anything more?
Sam?
Yeah, I guess in terms of the support for the range of miniatures we have, we are really trying to strike a balance between getting those rules changes and improvements and streamlines to you in a good amount of time. So like I said, we're looking at a mid 2026 release for this at the moment. Again, vague until we know for sure. And so we're trying to strike a balance between supporting as much as possible, but obviously given the breadth of all of the models that we have, we can't support everything from day one. But over the course of the first wave, we're looking to support with the products that are going to come out, the vast majority of the models in our range. There will be a little bit of movement in terms of which models continue on to a life or just sell through and get discontinued, but all of that news and stuff is obviously going to come out much closer to the release date.
Yeah, obviously. And it's obviously tricky because every mini or every character is someone's favorite. So we're aware that there might be one where you go, oh, my boy, or my robot, or whatever. It's like that might not be there, but that doesn't necessarily mean this is not in a comprehensive list, and it will change. And this is just your first look at it, really. So that kind of brings us to I think it's worth almost repeating as well, like kind of what sort of Evie touched on particularly at the start, that this is very much a refinement of what's iconic about Fallout Wasteland Warfare. This game has been around now bafflingly because I joined the company before this had launched. What's that, 7 years ago now?
Came out in 2018.
I'm old. I hate it. But yeah, and it's about taking what works really well, what we love about it, what we have like that great affinity for, but realizing that this game has been around a while. Things have been bolted on. It's like that's definitely not about nuking it all and starting afresh. It's about taking that core of it. And we hope you're all with us for another 7 years at least on it, because boy, it's been a ride. And so now this is the next part of it. Joe is here. Samantha, do you want to talk to Joe about sculpting stuff?
Yeah, so to reiterate what Jamie said, we are still going to be using a 32mm scale miniatures of the previous first edition. So there is no scale change. But there is a change that, Joe, you're going to wonderfully explain much better than I will, about the style and about the detail of the miniatures that we're going to be producing essentially from second edition going forward.
Yeah. So to start, condensed form probably. Basically, for second edition, the 3D team and our painting team worked really hard together, discussing, doing a lot of, recon. Now I'm losing my words. Just like tests really to see what works, what doesn't work, what makes a good mini, and not what doesn't make a good mini, because we make good minis. But basically, we work together really hard to consolidate what our new miniatures are going to be, that they still hold true to Fallout, to the characters, the creatures, the details of what makes each character, what makes each faction, etc. That's all still there, but while still improving build and paintability. So, a little bit extra emboldening, details that are easier to see, not like super simple, but like definitely has, more. Now I'm losing every word that I had in my head. This is why I write things down.
All right. It's been a
But
long
basically,
stream.
like, it has been a long stream. But we know from previous miniatures that we've done, and feedback from the community, and feedback from our own team members, painters and modelers included, that some of Fallout has a lot of detail. And some things maybe, you don't need 50 straps, you can have 10 straps, type of stuff. So
Or one.
basically, or one, one buckle.
This is how we meet in the middle, you see.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically it's just we want to make sure that everything is still true to Fallout, but fun to paint and fun to put together, and isn't requiring 50 magnification headsets to be able to see every buckle and every pouch that's on there, every scale or what have you. So we just want to make it good for you guys, and still our high details, high quality, but a bit more fun to paint.
Just a bit bolder.
Yeah, just a bit bolder. But yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, so some of our minis are going to look a bit beefier, particularly the human characters, look a bit more heroic. And having seen quite a few of them now, I'm really, really excited to get my hands on them and paint them, because trying to get some of those tiny details, even figuring out what those tiny details are personally has been quite hard for me to paint. Really happy with the outcome when I've finished a model, but it can be pretty grueling sometimes to figure out exactly how I should be painting something. And I think that we have been on a journey stylistically when it comes to our sculpts. So a bit like I was talking about earlier, where I remember when Johnny originally did the little promotional resin Kirk and Picard miniatures.
Oh yes.
And he did them 1:50 scale in exactly to that, and they were tiny, thin little things. And I was
still
like,
have
"This
one of those
this
somewhere.
tiny? Do you?
Yeah, I've
Amazing.
still got a Picard somewhere. He just looks like he looks like a slightly underweight Patrick Stewart because it hasn't got those the correct alteration in proportions, you know.
And so to be like to read well on the tabletop, you need to embolden those things. Particularly, you know, hands and feet need to be bigger. Weapons need to be a bit bigger. Sometimes shotguns need to be massive, but that's neither here nor there.
That's a personal choice.
And so, like all of those things are going to be improved, I think. Some of the things that come to mind that I've seen, you'll notice that, you know, there's kind of ribbing down the chest of the vault suit, right? And in our original sculpt, that was about the same size as you would get in a video game. Impossible to paint, almost hard to read. Now we've just thought, okay, well, instead of making 20, you know, ribs, we'll make 10 and we'll make them a bit bolder. And they're easier to read on the tabletop, easier to paint. And I think people are going to be a lot happy with that.
Definitely. So obviously lots of interesting chat and comments going on. I can see scrolling past people talking about things. You know, we're gonna tell you some stuff, but you know, if this is like when you're at a gig and you shout out for a song, right? They're probably not going to pay it 'cause we've got a set list. We got a set list, right? And we're going through it. And so if we don't answer your question, it's because we're just not going to answer your question. But some questions I have seen go past and ones we know we are prepared to talk about at the moment. Freebird! No, we're not playing Freebird. Are the rules going to be backwards compatible? Will current rules and stat blocks from first edition work in second edition? Evie, would you like to answer that?
Sure. I can answer it very sort of bluntly, which the answer is no. Stat blocks and rule sets won't be compatible between editions. Obviously, the miniatures will work just fine,
Yes.
but they will have completely new stats and rules. It's one of the reasons we want to pack in as support for as much as possible, as early as possible, to make sure you can continue using them.
That's cool to know. A question in chat we can answer because we've already I think we've already touched on it. Can we get normal size token markers, no more tiny ones?
Yes.
You know, we're working on optimizing that stuff as much as possible. Yes. Will Wave 10 and 11 have rules for Fallout Wasteland Warfare, or are they being released straight away with second edition rules?
So Wave 10 and 11, Wave 10 obviously having just been and gone, they're both being released with rules for this first edition of the game. And they will be supported with second edition rules over time. We showed you the list, obviously, previously, the slide with that on. And so, like I said, we are looking to initially, you know, kind of day one, support the majority of factions. Both so you can play as them, but also so that you can meet them as an adversary, an AI adversary. But we will have a little bit of period of catching up.
Obviously, because like I said, 7 years of stuff. There's a lot of minis out there. There's a lot of sets. I tried to do a count the other day of how many exact individual minis there are, and I realized I have a job and I can't do that sort of thing.
And yet, even so, I love what Monkey Sloth has said in chat about, you know, there better be McCready. Okay, you know, I love that you love McCready. Can't believe we don't have him yet, and I can't believe there are some models that we don't have yet. Actually, I was very, very surprised when briefing this next wave for the first wave of second edition. I was like, we don't have that. That's going in.
There's a lot of Fallout out there. There's still
still
plenty of room to explore. Yeah. You know. People have talked about this in previous streams, and it does come up occasionally. It's like, you know, just is a good time for us to clarify why there are two Fallout games, what the main difference is. That Fallout Second, like has been said already, is this sort of campaign-driven solo PvE or cooperative PvE experience, exploring the wasteland. Find your place in it, become part of this world. Whereas if you want to bash people on the head to head to factions, it's like factions is the more the straight skirmish game, and both will deliver that different thing. So definitely check them both out. And of course, not really. It's kind of two Fallout games. I like to think of it as 1.5 Fallout games because the minis work in both. So it's not like you have to. Oh no, I want to play the other Fallout game. I've got to get a ton more minis. No, you have the same minis. Go crazy. People asked about the app. Jamie, do you want to address that?
Yeah, so we've got Jamie, the app developer, not me, has been involved pretty much since day one. So he's involved to help with a 2.0 app. Really looking forward to it. Going to be there up running, ideally day one. Hey Jamie, no pressure. It's looking really good with 2.0's app. And in addition to getting all up and running. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah. But yeah, so in future ones, when we earlier today we had the Fallout Factions news and update, that will probably become just the Fallout news and updates. And so if you want to find out the new information about what's happening in Factions, or indeed Second Edition of Wasteland Warfare, that's going to be probably one of the best things you can put in your diary. Otherwise, seeing a few random questions going past that are all being answered. Thanks, the power of the crowd. I love that. Also, some people might want to get involved in playtesting. We currently have a full playtesting roster. We've reached out to certain community members who are already helping us with that. Thank you very much. If you're out there sitting in silence with a nice smug grin on your face, we appreciate you. But if you do have an interest in any future playtesting, you can basically get in touch with us. Go to modifius.net, search for playtesting, or you go to modifius.net/pages/playtesting NDA. And because reading out URLs is awful, there you go. It's in chat as well. So if you want to go and come and join us on the ride for this or other things, it'd be lovely to have you. I think what would be really nice is just to finish off before we kind of go and all jump into an iced bath. Not together. I mean, just separately. We have our own baths. But Samantha, it's been a long day. Sorry, Samantha, is there anything you want to finish off by saying about Second Edition and the awesome news that we're announcing today?
Yeah, we can do, absolutely. So this really kind of marks the direction of travel for I think Modifius games going forward into the future. And it's something that Chris is very passionate about as well. We've been talking about games and our development being solo first. Solo modes are often tagged onto a board game at the last minute or as a stretch goal or something like that. But we saw through lockdown, and Chris himself is a passionate single player of board games and miniatures games. You can see that with our range of 5X war games. You can see that with some of Wasteland Warfare in its first edition as well, and with our RPGs as well, with like Captain's Log and the upcoming Fallout solo RPG that's been announced. So this is really the focus of the second edition of Wasteland Warfare. Like I said, we're still going to support a limited battle mode that essentially gives you the rules to do that. To either use your campaign warband or just like in the first edition right now, decide, build a roster, decide what kind of force you want to put together and pit them against your friends. But it's not going to be the focus of the game itself. If you want a tight competitive skirmish game, then Fallout Factions is absolutely the game for you, and it is an absolutely fantastic game. So I wholeheartedly encourage you to go and purchase that and have a go as well.
Definitely. And yeah, I certainly don't have anything else to say. I'm just here to push buttons. So Jamie, would you like to add anything?
No, not really. Sam's kind of touched on it. Solo
Cool.
is kind of my primary way of playing at the moment, so I'm really excited. I've enjoyed playing it. My God, Super Mutants suck. They beat me up in every game, both in factions and Wasteland Warfare.
Hey, we've all got a place in life. It's fine. It's fine. It happens. Admec Squid says, "Whatever lets me hit my friend with a baseball bat while high on Psycho." I think that's the dev motto we should operate by. Evie, do you want to add anything before we wrap up?
I guess just that, when I came into the studio, this was one of the first things that was briefed to me, and that was something of a big thing to put on your plate immediately. But the reason that I was here with, working with Diffus in the first place, because as a freelancer, I'd worked on Wasteland Warfare, and I have a great deal of affection for it. And I wanted to make sure that whatever we did respected what had come before, but also let's explore new things, like evolve the game in directions. And honestly, I'm so proud of what we've achieved, what the whole team has achieved. And I'm so thrilled that already we're having such positive feedback within the business playtesters. And I can't wait to see everyone's reaction as we reveal more stuff, because I genuinely think this is a fantastic step.
Yeah, and definitely I've one of the people in the company who's been lucky enough to play the current build, and it's really good. So it's really good. So there's no worries there. Joe, if I've come to you last on the list, no pressure. Sorry about that. But
It's fine.
anything going through your head as we move into this sort of, like Samantha was saying, this new chapter of not just Fallout, but like how we do stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, myself and the team as a whole are really excited for the direction that the miniatures are taking. Again, not just the sculptors of the team, but the painters. So we're really excited for you to see how it's coming and what's coming up next, and all the hard work and just recon that we put into it to make it the best that it could be for everyone. And as I said, still stay true to Fallout and what we do here at Modifius. So I'm just super excited to see what's coming up down the line.
Amazing.
Can't say anything though.
No, obviously that's the
Go on,
that's the
leak
problem, isn't
something.
it?
Yeah.
Go on.
Go on, say something scandalous. No,
Nope.
but that's it. So, yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for coming along and spending time with us, especially if, like us, you are sat in front of a hot computer in a hot room with a hot light. Appreciate you just that little extra more, but it's so lovely to see you all and the love that people still have for Fallout Wasteland Warfare. It's so cool, and we've been giddy about announcing this, so that's amazing. Please do all the usual socially stuff, like do us a follow and a subscribe and all that. We can be found here, we can be found on YouTube, or here if you are watching this on YouTube later, but also Twitch, as well as Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and TikTok too. And as we mentioned earlier, come and join us on the Discord at discord.gg/Modifius or forums.modifius.com if that is more your jam. It's been lovely hanging out, but I'm going to go get a very cold drink, possibly a Nuka-Cola. Thank you for coming, and we will see you all very soon. Have an absolutely amazing night, whatever you get up to. Bye for now.
See ya.
See you later. Bye.
Hey.